Hey guys, it's Jelena here and I'm back with another video. I thought I would go into a bit more about my job as an English teacher in Korea because I've really been here for like almost 3 years and I really don't have many videos like talking about it or even like showing my life in Korea. So I figured I would kind of just explain a bit more and answer some questions that I feel like many people probably have about Epik because like there's not always a lot of information out there. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about like the application process of Epik a little bit. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the application process of Epik. And so like kind of, I'm not going to go into specifics about the actual application. I can do a separate video if you would like me to on that, because that is a whole extensive process. But I do kind of want to talk about like what to say when you're having your interview, because I feel like people are always really concerned about getting their placement, getting their area. The thing is, you can get a placement in Epik as long as you get your documents in and everything. Don't worry, like you can get a placement in Epik. Don't worry, like as long as you get your documents in fast, you'll be fine. But the question is, will I get my preference? So if I want to be in Seoul, will I get Seoul? If I want to be in Busan, will I get Busan? And let me tell you, when I applied, my preference was Incheon. I said Incheon. Why? Because I knew I wouldn't get Seoul because I heard many things about Seoul being extremely difficult to get into. But I also didn't want to be in the really, really rural areas. So I just said Incheon because it's kind of like a mixture of rural and city. So I just said Incheon. And the girl asked me, like my interview lady, she asked me, she was like, oh, why Incheon? I want to know, like, or is it just Incheon you're stuck on? I was like, because it's near Seoul, but it's just like not like in the city center. Like it's not as busy. Like I kind of just said something like that along those lines. And then she was like, oh, okay, are you flexible? They will probably ask you this question, especially if it is your first time in Korea. They will ask you this question, are you flexible? And my recommendation to say, if you want to get your foot in the door in Korea, just say yes. If you really just want to come to Korea and be in the country, just say yes. There's a good chance that if they ask you that, they probably will not put you in your preference, especially if your preference is something busy like Busan or Seoul. They probably won't put you in your preference. I will say maybe Busan might be more realistic as a preference. Like if you put Busan, there's a bigger chance of you being put in Busan than Seoul. If you put Seoul, everyone wants to be in Seoul, so it's like whatever. But I feel like there's not as many people who want Busan. So if you put your preference as Busan, for example, like you might have a bigger chance of actually getting it. So yeah, that's my recommendation for placements, is just if you want to get your foot in the door, if you just want to be in Korea, just say, yes, I'm flexible, and then come to Korea, go wherever they put you. If they put you in, Jeollado, if they put you in Incheon, like just go there. Go there, spend 1 year, teach, get experience. You're still in the country, so like focus on like making friends. And then if you don't like it and you want to move to Seoul or wherever your preference is, you can move later after 1 year. But I just recommend just getting your foot in the door, coming, having that teaching experience, being in Korea, and then moving. So especially if you are gonna kind of be in Korea for a while, like if you're not gonna be in Korea for if you're gonna be in Korea for 1 year, I get it, you probably want your preference. But like if you're gonna be in Korea for like many years, you can work your way up to it. So work at one school for 1 or 2 years and then move to the next school in your preferred area, because you're more likely to get it after you actually have experience in Korea, because they want people who are not gonna like just get up and like run away, And the next thing is grade level. So when you are teaching an Epik, you will be teaching many grade levels. You don't just have one class or one grade. It's not like, oh, I want 3rd grade, so I'm going to teach 3rd grade. No, in Epik, you are probably going to be teaching multiple grades. So usually in Epik, it's from 3rd to 6th grade. So you can expect that you will be teaching 3rd to 6th grade. Now, it varies how many classes per grade. It varies the levels of your students. If you're in Seoul, maybe your kids will be higher level. And yeah, like how many times you meet them. You might meet one grade more than the other. Like, it just depends. I know at my old school, in the rural city, I met my 6th graders more than I met my 3rd and 4th graders. So it's just different. It just varies. And yeah, you don't get to choose the grade level. You will probably be teaching 3rd through 6th because you are the only English teacher, like native English teacher at your school. So you are there to give those kids an experience, and Korean kids usually start learning English in public school starting from 3rd grade. So you will be teaching 3rd through 6th usually. There is no one grade level, but if you work at a Hagwon, you'll probably just get one grade level or one English level to teach. But Epik, yeah, you'll be teaching multiple grades. So as you know, like, I lived in rural Korea for a little bit with Epik, and I think that and I talked about how things were really, really far. Like going into Seoul was far. Movie theater. My town did not have a movie theater. So I had to literally take a 30-minute subway to the nearest movie theater. But to be fair, here in Seoul, my like little city doesn't have a movie theater either. But the movie theater is kind of closer than it would have been out there. So, it depends. But even in Seoul, you can like not have a movie theater near you. But I'm just talking about, I guess I want to talk about like the necessities. Talking about like the grocery store, the bank, things like that. So in my old town, the grocery store, there's only like small grocery stores. We have small grocery stores. When I say small grocery stores, we have like small, like mom and pop grocery store where you're gonna be able to find just basic things: eggs, milk, bread, maybe some frozen foods, maybe some seasonings, some gochujang, some rice, some like fruits and veggies, like just very basic things. But if there's something very specific, like name brand, that you want and a bigger variety of things, you're probably going to have to leave your city or town in the rural area to get a bigger variety. So it's not like there's no groceries in that area. You'll just have to go further if you want more of a variety. The nearest, like my nearest mom and pop grocery store was approximately like literally 5 minutes away, walking distance from my school, was a small mom and pop grocery store that I would always go to for just basic necessities. But if you want like a bigger variety of things, name brand things, like my nearest like name brand place was probably like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, no, 30 minutes by subway. That's pretty far. Luckily, I had like a friend or two that had a car, and so sometimes like she would like drive me out there to get groceries. But yeah, if you have a lot of groceries, like you don't want to lug those things on the subway with you, so you might have to do delivery or get someone to help you. So it's gonna be a little difficult. But I would say like things like Daiso or whatever. Like my town had a Daiso. Daiso, if you don't know, is like a dollar store in Korea. You can definitely find a dollar store in your rural town, 100%. So don't worry about that. You'll have like little like meat, like I guess like you'll have like little restaurants, little cafes you can still go to. Like it's not completely like there's nothing. Well, it depends. It depends on how rural your town is, because my town was pretty rural, but it wasn't the ruralest of the rural. I've heard of towns where there weren't even cafes. My area was kind of like a little tourist attraction area, so there was a lot of cafes, but I've heard of people who they didn't even have like cafes near them. So I mean, it really just depends on your area, but I will say don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You can always just take a bus or a subway into the next city or next town if there's something that you really, really do need, but it really depends on how rural your area is. The next thing I want to talk about, and I want to talk about this in regards to my old place and my new place, like creating some things like a bank account or internet, furniture, things like that. So when you move into your house in Korea, every school is different. Some schools, maybe the previous teacher lived there, maybe they didn't. Maybe it's a brand new unit. I know for my old school, the teacher that I was replacing, she had lived in this building before and she didn't like it, so she moved out, and then they put me in this building. and there was really nothing. There was nothing in there. So when I first went there was a budget, and my like co-teacher went out with me to go buy some like basic necessities like pans, pots, like slippers for the house, things like that. But if it's like a house that somebody already lived in, then you might have some of those things left over by the previous teacher or whatever, or not. I mean, they're really not supposed to leave things, but sometimes they do. Yeah, but I will say when it comes to internet, I have been really lucky actually at this placement in Seoul. In my old placement in Seoul, they gave me internet and TV. What I will say is that the TV is just regular Korean TV. So I will say bring a Fire Stick if you don't want to watch Korean TV all day long, but you still want to watch your shows on your TV. Bring a Fire Stick. I brought a Amazon Fire Stick because I didn't think that Roku would work in Korea, which is like not true, but I brought an Amazon Fire Stick. At my old place, I didn't need to use it because at my old place, I was able to get Netflix and Disney Plus on my TV. But at my new place, for some reason, there is no Netflix and no Disney Plus on my TV. So I had to, but thank God I already had a Fire Stick that I brought from home expecting this. So definitely bring a Fire Stick if you want to watch like your own TV. But TV and internet should already be included in it's not required. I will say that it's not required. So if your school doesn't give that to you and they say you need to pay an extra fee, you might have to, but you might get lucky. And most schools do give you internet, at least internet. Even if they don't give you TV, they'll at least give you internet. But most schools in Korea give internet and TV, so I wouldn't worry about it. And if you do need it, your school will let you know. You'll have to pay like an extra fee or something, but fingers crossed, your school's probably really good and will probably get you internet and TV, so don't worry about that. Furniture, so usually the required furniture in an Epik house is like a desk table type thing, and then also a refrigerator, and then a bed, and TV is kind of like up in the air, like they don't have to get that for you, and then like a desk and chairs. There's always usually like a desk and chairs. So at my old house, it was like an actual table, like a dinner table with 2 chairs. And then at my new house, it's actually like a table that was kind of like built into the wall. So it's like a table in the entranceway, and it has 2 chairs. But you'll always get basically like a table and chairs. I think that you're entitled to that if your place is big enough. I know places in Seoul might be a little small, so they might not even have room for that. No, I have a friend that she was in Seoul and her place is pretty small and she had a table and chairs. So you should at least get that. So those are like the basic furniture. If you want anything else, if you want like if your place is bigger, if you're in the rural area and your place is bigger, you'll have to buy it on your own. If you want shelves for maybe, let's say your K-pop album collection, or if you want a couch for like when your friends come over, you want them to be able to like be comfortable and like watch TV in your living room, you'll have to buy that on your own and figure that out. But there's only so much your school can get for you, and other things that are like not in your contract, you're gonna have to get on your own. But basic furniture, your school has got you covered. Don't worry about that. Creating a bank account. Okay, so when I came to Korea, I was at my rural town in my rural school, and so I had to create a bank account at my rural school. And so by the way, when you first come to Korea through Epik, you have to wait about a month or 2 until you can get paid, because you are not allowed to get paid until you have a bank account, and like a Korean bank account. And you can't get a Korean bank account unless you have your ARC. So when you come to Korea, you will have to go to immigration and get your ARC within the first week of arriving here. You'll probably have to do a walk-in and get your ARC. Now, some co-teachers go with you, some don't. I know my co-teacher went with me to the ARC to immigration, but I saw a girl there and her co-teacher did not come with her, but thankfully my co-teacher was really sweet and was like able to help her as well. So yeah, it just depends. It depends on your co-teacher if they trust you enough to go out there alone. But yeah, in Seoul, immigration office is like 30 or 45 minutes away from my school. In the rural town, they gave me a whole day off because immigration was roughly 2 or 3 hours away from my school, there and back. So there, it was 2.5 hours, and then on the way back, 2.5 hours, because I had to go to Suwon immigration, even though I lived in Yangpyeong, which was so crazy to me. It was a whole day trip. Like, it was crazy. So you can imagine if I have to get there for a walk-in at 9 a.m., that was kind of annoying. But yeah, anyways, you need your ARC first, and then you can create a bank account, and then you can get paid. So that's why you need to bring a lot of money when you come to Korea, because you'll have to survive on your own for approximately like that first month or two. You'll have to survive on money that you brought with you to Korea. So you need to at least have maybe like $1,000 or $2,000, $1,000 to $2,000 saved up to come to Korea. I would say like creating a bank account here is really difficult. It's only difficult if you're in the rural area. So my co-teacher came with me in the rural area out in Yangpyeong. She came with me to make my bank account with NH. NH, let me tell you right now, if you are in a rural area, you will probably get stuck with NH. And at first, NH was fine, but they just are not foreigner friendly. There's many things that they don't allow you to do, and it's a headache and a half if you want to do certain transfers and things like that. So if your school tells you to do NH, which they probably will, because if you're in a rural area, like that's what's nearby, they don't really have Hanas or Udis out there. So you're probably going to be stuck with NH, and good luck, Charlie. I would say if your school puts you with NH, sign up with NH, or ask your school, hey, can I sign up with a different bank? I want to do a different bank. But they usually do that because if there's anything you need to do, if you need to come like during certain hours, it'll be close to your school, so you can go during certain hours. You can get off early and go. But my recommendation, don't sign up with NH, because I lost my credit card and I tried to get a new one, and then they were like, your ARC is not valid for a year, so you can't get a new one. And I was like, am I supposed to just live in Korea with no credit card for a year? Like, I'm not doing that. So I literally ended up leaving NH, and I ended up using NH as a savings account. And then I ended up opening a bank account with Uri, which it's really not that hard. Just bring your passport, bring your ARC. Like, I literally went by myself, no co-teacher or anything, to Uri, and which was like a town over from mine. And I ended up creating an Uri bank account, and I'm still with them to this day in Seoul, and it's just so much better than NH. So if you can, avoid NH, but if you can't, make an account and then dip later if you can. But yeah, creating a bank account, your co-teacher will probably help you, but I genuinely think that if you're not in a rural area, your co-teacher doesn't really need to help you. Like, I genuinely think you can probably go there by yourself, bring your passport and your ARC, and make one on your own. If there's anything else you guys want me to talk about in regards to Epik, let me know. Or I can talk about traveling within Korea, traveling within Korea or traveling outside of Korea while living in Korea. I can also make a video about that, like tips on that. And so yeah, let me know what you guys want to hear. And I really hope you enjoyed me going into more specifics about Epik. So peace.